Arsenal Fan TV. We're here with Tim Payton from the Arsenal Supporters Trust. How you doing, Tim?
I'm well, not that happy after this weekend, but, you know, thanks to you lot, look, global fame, really, global fame.
Not me. I know you must have picked up a bit of stress because of that video with a very unhappy fan called out your name a couple of times. Now, first of all, before we get into talking about the transfers, etc., what did you think of that video? You know, because he does a couple of times call your name out directly.
Look, I share his anger, I share his frustration. I was as mad as that on Saturday night. I went and had a drink with my Arsenal friends and none of us could quite believe it. In some ways, I wish I had as much authority or as much say in things as maybe he thinks, you know, because I'd buy some players and pick a different team to what's going on at the moment. So I know that's Chris, you know, I know some of his friends, and he's also, you know, he's a glass half empty, and I think by the end of Saturday it was a glass totally empty type of bloke. But I share his frustration and his anger, and he's got every right to have a say.
Now, listen, one of the things he was saying, I remember the last time when we spoke, I think it was in July, and you called for patience at that time. You said that you know, they're trying to get business done. They've got players in mind that they're bringing in, and we just need to be patient. There are going to be players coming in. Now, I think that guy showed that patience has really run out.
Well, patience was given, but patience wasn't deserved. If you look at the summer as a whole, you know, at the beginning of the summer, the Arsenal Supporters Trust put these reports in on the corporate governance at Arsenal and the board structure. And these reports in detail articulate our views, our challenge. There aren't enough football people on the board. There isn't enough infrastructure to support Arsene Wenger. There aren't board members like Danny Fisman, like David Dean, making transfers happen, and there's a distant owner. Now, if the owner wants to hang about in the States all the time and never come over here, well, maybe that's what we have to live with, but he has to put in place better quality personnel. So we challenged and said that. But to explain the patience, some of that comes from Ivan Gazidis has said to me, to other AST members, I think publicly, I think privately, we have got big funds to spend. It's the Arsenal Supporters Trust who've helped fans out by telling them it's over £100 million. We gave them some benefit of the doubt. We said some time. They promised that it would be spent. Ivan Gazidis said, it's going to seem laughable now, but he said in June that we were going to be like Bayern Munich.
Well, we're not like Bayern Munich because Gustavo doesn't even want to come here.
We're a long way from being like Bayern Munich.
There are a lot of fans out there who felt at that time that it was a cynical attempt by the football club to sell season tickets. It was around about the season ticket time. They put out all this spiel about 70 million, etc., etc. Where, you know, a lot of fans bought into that. And now, what a lot of fans are expressing to me is that it was cynical. It was just an attempt to make us buy season tickets. Do you think that was true?
In a sad way, I sort of wish that were true, because that would show they had a plan, or they knew what they were doing, if you know what I mean. I think it's more dysfunctional than that. I think it's that they've got the money, but at the moment, the scouting system, the purchasing system, the negotiating system just isn't joined up. Now, a lot of that is probably because of the manager, but there's no coherence inside of the club about what the plan is, about what the target is. So I don't think it was a deliberate ploy. I think it's just because the club is not functioning properly. And that's why the Arsenal Supporters Trust issued a statement yesterday saying we need to review the whole structure. Kroenke has got to accept it's failing. He's got to look at what's wrong. Is this solely because of the manager and his reluctance to buy and spend and developmental manager? If so, he has to put people in around him or not give him another contract or move it on. Because clearly things aren't working, are they? You don't start a season with the strength of squad we did if things are working. They're not. Change has got to come. And we also said they've been talking over the summer about giving Arsene Wenger a new contract. Now, that's totally wrong. Shouldn't even be talking about that or thinking that. He's got to earn that, but every effort should go into signing players. They can think about whether or not to renew Arsene Wenger after the next transfer window if the signings have gone well and if the team have picked up, but it's completely inappropriate to be focusing on that at the moment.
Do we need to say, I look at Tottenham Hotspur, the mob up the road, and they appointed a director of football, and if you look at some of the signings they've brought in, top quality players, you know, like Paulinho. Is that what we need here? Do we need to take that role away from...
Whether it's a director of football, but let's go back to when things were going fantastically at this club. We had 3 people on the board, Danny Fisman, David Dean and Richard Carr, all Arsenal fans, all Arsenal people, all involved behind the scenes, going to away games, watching what was going on, often mixing with fans. They had that drive and commitment, they got involved. We know David Dean led on the football, but Richard Carr led at the youth football and the training ground and getting that built. We don't have them anymore. They've they've gone and they've not been replaced. So whether it's a director of football or whether it's 2 or 3 young dynamic board members, but clearly having just Arsene Wenger, with Ivan Gazidis kind of stranded, who was appointed by Arsene Wenger, and Stan Kroenke, who probably hangs out on his ranch and doesn't even bother watching or coming to see Arsenal, it's just failing. It's failing our club, and we need new personnel to strengthen it.
I mean, it's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? I mean, the first game of the season that we turned up here, there's no new signings even to... I mean, supporters do look for that.
Yeah, new player, singing the name of the new signing on the first day, being excited, getting their name on your shirt, wondering what they're going to play like. And you come here and you're watching a squad that's weaker than you ended the season with. It's dispiriting. And also, people talk about the players picking up the atmosphere off the fans. Well, I'm sure they do. But players aren't stupid. They know the strength of their teammates. They know the squad isn't strong enough. I saw Oliver Giroud come out with a statement today that read like he was reading out the AST statement. We must sign players. You know, the players are saying it and think it. It feels like everybody is saying it, except for Arsene Wenger, who at the last press conference asked for journalists who he should sign.
Now, today we've heard that they've made a bid for Yohan Cabaye. Not kebab, Cabaye. But Yohan Cabaye.
Arsene is good mates with Joe Kinnear, apparently. I just can't imagine what that conversation's going to be like.
But yeah, Yohan Cabaye. Now, if they would have made that bid, say, earlier on in the season, I think a lot of fans would have looked at it and said, well, yeah, he's not a bad player. But now, a lot of bids that they're going to make now are going to look like sort of panic moves. Because is Yohan Cabaye what we need at Arsenal right now?
Well, he's a good, solid Premier League quality footballer, isn't he? He would add to the squad. I like him as a player. I don't think he's the sort of player you sign if you've got aspirations to win a Champions League or a Premier League, which a club which is going to be of the stature of Bayern Munich, as the chief executive tells us, does. But your question is spot on. If we'd have signed 2 or 3 solid players in June, July, I think there'd have been a lot more understanding, if you like, of the patience. Will they get the big name on transfer day deadline? Will they make that one big knockout bid for Suarez? Could it be Rooney? But because we haven't signed the solid players, waiting for the big player, we've signed nobody. It feels like a scramble now. And of course, what do you do if someone wants something off you in a panic?
You bump the price up.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. So you end up paying more than if you just sucked it up in June.
Now, there was a fan on Saturday, and he said, this, I can still remember what he said clearly. He said, in life, you get what you pay for unless you're an Arsenal fan. I mean, when are these board members, Arsene Wenger, when are they going to realise fans are really hurting at the moment? I mean, are you guys able to sort of, I know you've done the statement today, which is a good thing. Are you guys able to sort of, let them know this, how people really feel? Do they know how everybody's sort of feeling?
They do know, and they pick it up. They pick it up in the ground. They pick it up from monitoring the newspapers and so on. There will be meetings. We've requested a meeting with the new chairman, Chips Keswick, which has said will come up when he's back from, I think he's on holiday at the moment. But the real key date that's coming up as well will be the AGM, which comes up in October, which is when Stan Kroenke has to come and other directors. And we represent shareholders, and the fan share scheme owns shares. So we will go to the meeting and we will table questions, and it's the once a year when you can actually put them to them face to face. And yes, we get the contact, as you know, with Ivan Gazidis and with others there, and we'll absolutely challenge them on this at the moment. My own view at the moment, almost back to my point about not giving Arsene Wenger a new contract this week, I wouldn't want Ivan Gazidis to waste his time meeting me or another supporters group this week. We can meet him in September and analyse and say this has got to improve and change. For the next 15 days or whatever it is, he should spend every minute he's got on giving us a decent team for the rest of the season.
And some of the signings, let's say Suarez, that's been like the major signing. We missed out on Higuain.
Yeah. Well,
try and get Suarez.
When we talked last time, and we sort of said to you about end of July, something big coming, and Arsene looking at Suarez a lot, and in a way it was correct because the bid came in. Where it went horribly wrong was going for £40 million and £1, and at some point Arsenal will have to work out how they got that so spectacularly wrong, who misread the clause, because if there was a chance of getting him, it went that moment. You could see the reaction from Liverpool. What are they smoking over there? And he wasn't going to. From that moment, it looked so difficult unless you got an incredible amount of money. So something went wrong there. And they've got to just, it's about having savvy. It's about we need some world-class negotiators as well as world-class players.
I'm not going to ask you if you still think we should be patient.
I think it's pretty clear that we gave them patience. Now it's time, the time for action.
But apart from Cabaye, have you heard of any other sort of players Or do you? I don't want to put you on the spot because obviously it's only things you hear, and some people take it literally, like as if you're about to buy the player, which I know people shouldn't do. But have you heard of any sort of major signings that we are looking to bring in?
No, not at the moment. I literally think it's like, throw a pack of cards up in the air and see which one comes down first.
It's that bad?
I do know that whereas we would all say he needs a goalkeeper, he still felt that with Szczesny and Fabianski, he would wait and see, let them develop. That performance from the goalkeeper on Saturday, surely even he can see that. But but I can't. I don't know. If I were to have a guess, I'd say there's Cesar and Begovic out there. And if you can't sign one of them with the amount of money you've got, then what are you doing? But coming back to football infrastructure, there's no point signing another goalkeeper if you don't bring in a good quality coach, good quality goalkeeping coach. Where's Jens Lehmann? Where's David Seaman? Where's someone that can inspire and teach these young goalkeepers? We've seen a succession of goalkeepers at Arsenal get no better when they wear the main jersey. That's why we've called for this external review of the whole football setup, because it's just not working.
Do you think Saturday, in a really funny way, is actually a good thing that happened?
I never know. I just don't go for this idea that Arsenal losing or seeing us go down is in any way enjoyable or what we want to see.
But if, say, on Saturday we would have went out there and say we won 5-0, do you think we would have signed anybody?
I still think we would have done, because even if we'd have won, the injuries would have come and they'd have seen how thin the squad was. Would we have signed quite as many players as perhaps is now going to happen? Who will know? But no, I don't subscribe to the view about wanting us to lose or wanting us to not do well. What I do subscribe to is absolutely giving them some challenge, some pressure. The AST, the Black Scarf movement, others have absolutely pressured them. And that's quite right. We're fans, we're entitled to our voice, we pay our money, and we've got to demand that it's better. And there's 16, 17 days to at least make it a bit better, so let's hope.
And one last thing I just want to ask you, because one disturbing thing I found on Saturday was a lot of infighting between fans. I mean, we saw the fan who was angry with you. Inside the ground, I saw fans, about 3 different incidents where fans were about to fight each other because of disagreements between fans. I mean, what have we got to do now to get the fan base together and really get behind the team, because it is only one game?
Well, we all support Arsenal, and sometimes the love and passion for Arsenal leads to this disputes, but it's nothing new. One of the members of the AST board was in the campaign group that removed Billy Wright in '66. Then it got so bad that we had a game at Highbury with a crowd of 4,000. That's how many people were prepared to show up. I just about remember, as a small boy, one of the most exciting things happening at Arsenal games for ages was the protest in Avenel Road about Terry Neal, which actually, the guy Chris who was giving me stick and Darren Epstein and others, part of the Arsenal Action Group, they led that campaign. George Graham got caught with his hand in a till, but his football had run out of time. When managers and clubs run out of steam, it is the view and the response from fans that leads to the change. So while it's not nice to see people arguing with each other, it is our voices, it is our dissension. If it's not good enough for us, will lead to change.
And are you saying then that Arsene Wenger's run out of steam? Do you think this is the end of the era?
I think that's very likely. I think he's got 2 or 3 weeks now to make some good signings, to re-inject some confidence in that team. But for my own personal view, I think we probably are. He's got an awful lot of work to do to show that he deserves that new contract. But I would love that to happen, because that would mean good performances this season and good players signed, and that's what I want to see. But it does feel like after an awful long time of him being in charge that we are seeing seismic changes at the club starting.
Thank you.
What you saw there was the result of total incompetence by the board and the manager. And it couldn't have gone any worse. They've had 90 days to buy players. We've lost 5 players in one day. And due to their incompetence, there's a very good chance for all that hard work we did trying to get 4th, he could blow it Wednesday night. And I'll tell you something, one of them, if not both of them, have got to go. And I've got a message to Tim Payton and John Cross and all you media lovies, get off your arse and start saying it as it is. And the message to the board, either fucking shape up or get out, because you've let all the fans down. You should be ashamed of yourself, Gazidis.